Silver is starting the week off strong. It's starting to build out some structure. We're gonna watch silver very closely this week. In today's video, we're gonna talk about silver and the recent technical developments, and I'm gonna analyze 4 popular mining stocks for you. One of them, if you want to go on the long side with a silver miner, looks really interesting. And this one has the Top Gun Maverick afterburner if the silver price goes higher. Let's get into it. Welcome to Hot Trades of the Day, your show for swing trading ideas for the coming days, weeks, and month. Welcome, my name is Daniel Helmy, and let's jump right into it. Silver starting to build out some constructive structure. I've told you this before when we talked about gold. Gold, by the way, doesn't look nearly as good as silver. You know the reasons why. The industrial demand of silver, the potential of a comeback of the solar boom, and gold having the high negative correlation to the dollar. And I'm going to show you the dollar in a second because this is important. But the main advantages that we have in silver are silver did not make a new intraday low compared to the lows that are right above my ugly head. It did make, and this is important because for some reason a lot of the YouTube channels seem to forget this, it made new lows on the close and confirmed those lows. That's why I'm not super euphoric about silver yet. But if we just look at things, and this is silver spot, yes, we're still below the 200. That is negative. Yes, we're still below the 50. But we have not fallen back into the downtrend. We are fighting with a break of the downtrend, and we're making a higher low right now. We'll see if this stands. I'm not so convinced about it, but this does look productive. This does look productive. You look at the RSI, we're making a higher RSI. That's what we want to see. We had something similar, if you look at it here, where you see the sell-off low, RSI is down, then we have a small rally, rebound, go back down. Now then we retested the uptrend. So I would have loved to have this scenario right here, just one step lower. That would have been ideal. That has been my scenario, as you know, but it's pretty similar and it's pretty interesting. We got to keep that in mind, right? RSI low, and then we see a higher RSI with a higher silver price, and then things start to really turn from there. So will the same thing happen if we look at silver just individually? It's starting to form the structure that we want to see for a long-term bottom. But we cannot look at silver just separately from other entities that are clearly influencing it. For example, gold. So let's jump to gold really quick. So gold, we see a rebound, but gold obviously did make a new low. It is still far below the downtrend that silver right now is trying to break, right? Far below the 50, the purple line, and the 200, the golden line. And we have to take a look at the dollar. And the dollar short term looks like it could correct, and that would then explain why we see the rebound in gold and therefore then in silver. But it just screams breakout and not false breakout. And if we go higher in the dollar, and if you watched the video over the weekend where we talked about the weekly charts, the weekly chart of the dollar looks really strong. So I would not bet against the dollar here, which then would also mean that we're probably going to see lower gold prices. And can the silver price separate itself from gold and a stronger dollar? I don't think so. But let's get into the silver miners and let's talk about the silver mining stocks. So I promised you 4, so here we go. So we're going to start off with one of the blue chips. We're going to start off with Coeur. And I mean, when I was in Zurich in April, Coeur was one of the story points. It was like, is this the time where things finally going to turn around for Coeur? I look at this chart and the answer is no, not really. I don't need to rush and buy this at all. It looks actually a lot worse than the silver price. And this goes for a lot of the seniors, by the way. You look at this and we're below the 200, we're below the 50. We formed a downward channel and we doinked off the top part for the fourth time now, which, by the way, coincided with the 200. So that was kind of obvious that was a little too much. And now we're trending down. And we still got gaps open. We got a gap here, if you believe in closing gaps on the close, right here, and then another one right here. So do I need to jump on Coeur right now? I zoom out for you to show you where this yellow, which I should turn into blue, by the way, resistance zone comes from. This is the weekly. So let's get to it. So you see we broke out. That was the big story. Hallelujah. We're getting the long-awaited breakout from Coeur, but now we're kind of trending back into it. I'm okay with run retest right here. This one, we got to wait and see. And I don't think I need to have this in the portfolio right now. I think other silver miners offer better fundamentals to me personally, what I like to invest in. And definitely better technicals, which let's switch back to the daily. Again, don't look great if you see the chart short term. Again, a lot of downside potential and weakness compared to the silver price. So that's the senior. Let's get to the junior, which is a stock that I really do like, which is Avino silver and gold. Now look at that compared to Coeur. This one looks good and super interesting. Yes, we're fighting with the uptrend that has been in place since Trump Liberation Day chaos, right? But overall, man, that's a nice uptrend. I'm still kicking myself. Avino was one of the top stocks in 2025, right here. No, wait, April, sorry, right here. I was in Zurich at the conference. Avino was one of my favorites walking away from it, and I could have gotten a super price, obviously, but I didn't buy it. I was like, I gotta get it a little lower. And now, who's the idiot now? But we're above the 200. We're fighting with the 50. This looks completely different than what we just saw with Coeur, right? It looks also better than the situation in the silver price. We didn't make a new low, so we got a potential for a double bottom. This is a really important zone, no question, right? We got this horizontal support that you see right here. We got the 200, this needs to hold. We better regain the uptrend, which will also mean we jump above the 50. Then the stock really could pop, and we still have an open gap right here. But overall, this is what we want to see. This is a constructive technical build out. This looks way better. I'm not going to buy. This one is very, very high on my watch list, but only at the right price. Now, what would the right price be? A decent price would obviously be anything around $7.70 Canadian, that is, right? To about $7 flat, maybe a little more. So this bottom zone right here, we got a gap open right here. That would be at 6, and that's probably where I would get really interested. If we get a sell-off now, how would we get from 9 to 6? Well, if we get a sell-off in the metals and we get a sell-off in the June swoon, if you're familiar what that is, that's historically a weakness that we get in June before we then start the summer rally, which by the way hadn't happened, I think, in the past 2 years. So, but historically has been a thing. If this double whammy hits and the dollar goes higher, so we get pressure from gold, yeah, it's possible in an panic selling, oversold condition. So this is one that I really like. Good structure, great fundamentals, junior producer, has all the things that I like, right? So let's get to 2 explorers and then we get you out of here. Because as you know, we like to keep the videos short and not too long. So one of the Explorer high flyers, oops, that's Heckler, that's definitely not a high flyer and it's not an Explorer. Here we go, it's Highcraft Mining. That's like the Eric Sprott special. If you know, you know. This has been one of the biggest success stories of 2025 that not that many, for some reason, are familiar with. But if you were interested in mining stocks, obviously you know the name. It basically burned from like August. It was a 10-20 bagger almost from the summer all the way to the peak. And that again shows you what's possible with mining stocks when you get the right timing and you get the right company and you get the right discoveries. Again, looks not as good as Avino, right? We made a new low compared to April. We know the silver price hasn't. We broke below this support zone, retested it and doinked off it. That's no good, but we're holding the 200. So as long as we don't make a new low, this is something that we could watch. This is a really popular stock. So if we get a bounce off the 200, we're definitely going to get gap fill all the way up to the resistance zone, and then we'll go from there. But I'm more interested to see, hey, if we break down, how low can we go? Because we got a couple of gaps open. Obviously, we got this monster gap right here, and then we have another one right here. So could we get maybe a chance to get back in on this thing around $16 to $13 US? That would be an area where Highcraft could become really interesting, because their exploration, obviously, as the chart shows, has been excellent. And they're very visible in the commodity market. Again, not on YouTube, but remember, most of the YouTube pundits are not really mining experts and really deep into the commodity sector. In the commodity sector, Sprott is very present, and therefore Highcraft is quite present. A lot of people looking at this stock. So if it starts to move, this could be interesting. And Highcraft has a market cap now of like 2.4 billies. So that one does work for institutions as well. So they'll jump on this quickly if this turns. Now, let's come to one of my favorites. I do own this stock, and it's the best looking chart that I see. So if you say, hey, I think the silver rally will continue, this would be the trade that you can do. I'm not buying anything right now, as you know. I believe we're gonna have one more wash out. We'll see what happens if we build out structure. Might have to change my mind, but that's what I believe. So I'm not doing anything. But if you want to do a trade, if you feel dangerous today and want to do a trade that has upside and looks great, check out Abra Silver Explorer. And that one, as you can see, is one of the best looking charts you're going to find in the mining sector anywhere. Like any metal, doesn't matter. It just looks great. Long-term uptrend starting October 2025, running intact. We're above the 200, which is trending up. Not that many 200-day moving averages trending up. We're below the 50, yes, but we're above these two really important factors, the uptrend and, again, the 200-day. And we basically just doinked off the uptrend twice, and the second one with a higher high. This is a great setup. Look at the RSI, higher RSI. We're happy with this. Again, this looks quite similar to this rally right here, where we had the low with the RSI a little lower, a little bit more oversold, okay, but it's the same setup, right? Rebound, came back down to the uptrend, exactly like here, down, rebound to the uptrend, and then with a higher RSI, and then we partied in April, May. And as you know, silver price didn't really do much in April, May. Yes, Abra Silver, one of the very, very few silver stocks that actually made a new all-time high in May. There are not that many out there that were able to do that. So that might be a mining stock, and that Abra Silver has a really, really high Top Gun Maverick afterburner to the silver price. So if silver turns around, this one can really go. If you want to take on a trade, might be interesting for you. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not going to tell you what to do. So that's the show for today. If you like the content, if you feel like, hey, this helps me, hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you here in the community. Have a great start to the new week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.